Welcome back everyone to the Alpine Mountains and More Farming Simulator. And boy am I happy to be saying that, because for those of you who might have noticed, there have been no videos over the last roughly 2 weeks here on the channel, and that's because I've been out of commission. Unfortunately, I've been under the weather and spent most of that time in the beds, very sick. So I'm happy to be up and moving around a little bit. I'm certainly not over it. In fact, you can probably tell in my voice. I'm still trying to get my strength back and get over this, but I was at a point where I had to at least give this a shot and see if I could get back to some sort of normalcy and at least make a video, and then hopefully over the next week or two I can get back into some sort of a normal swing of things as we're more used to here on the channel. So you can see work is already underway. Let's go ahead and we can get him. There we go. Let's go ahead and stop this guy and get him parked. But there you can see we've already got our windrower coming right behind him, and he's going to be done here momentarily. But the focus of today's video is not going to be on fields 3 and 4 and our normal workload. It's going to be on our new fields. I just needed to, for a brief moment, hop over and take care of some things on field 3 and 4. As I'm trying to stagger these guys out a little bit. Obviously, with moving to two new fields, that's going to be a lot more work, and I'm trying to stagger it out a little bit. So I've gotten started here on fields 3 and 4 a little bit early. But as I said, the main focus of today is to give me an opportunity, if nothing else, to just try to get back into the swing of things. I have desperately missed doing these videos on a daily basis. And I'm hoping to get back to that as soon as possible. So for me today, this is all about just seeing if I can make it through a video, if I've got enough strength to actually make it through a video. Unfortunately, even though I can say that hopefully the worst is over for me, the rest of my family I cannot say that for, because they are going through a rough time, and some of them are just getting started with this. But for now, we're going to head over to our new fields, 24 and 25. Let's actually scroll back out a little bit and get this guy loaded. All right, so a little bit different here than what we've been doing on fields 3 and 4, particularly field 4. Here, we're going to have this guy is going to be doing all of the mowing, and the attachment, the mowing attachment, has the ability to create a swath right down the center line as he's mowing, so we won't need to windrow. And we're going to simply take the grass. We're not going to worry about hay over here. We're going to simply take that grass, collect it, and put it in the silo you see just ahead there in the distance. And we're going to convert that over to silage, which can then be sold either in the BGA or in our new sell point that we talked about most recently. But for right now, let's go ahead and let's see, we're on field 25, so we want the mow. That's all we're going to need for him right now. And there you can see the outline of what he's going to be doing. Let's go ahead and also turn off all of these waypoints and just leave the beginning and the end waypoints on there. Okay, there we go. Get him into position. We want him to start at the first waypoint and go ahead and drive the course. Now in this case, I do want to leave this activated where he stops. Now this will be my first time working this field since we made the purchase and got it sown with grass seed. So I'm very excited and also a little bit apprehensive to see how this works out. And the reason is, you'll notice as we move along, and I'm going to get our cursor unlocked here, we've got a road running down through here. Now it's not such a big problem along the side here, but when we get a little farther, we get into a little bit of a bridge here, and then we get into a rather steep learning curve here if he is not able to make these turns happen along the way. So right now you see that he has reached an edge, and the corner of the field is not exactly what we would like. It's not squared up or in a standard rectangle shape, so I'm going to see what he does here. Again, this is my first time seeing him do this as well, so I'm going to see how he navigates this and how much of this field he's actually able to work using the course play mod, given its slightly odd shape. So it looks like he's going to do pretty good here. Again, not expecting him to be perfect and get every bit of grass, but we'll see what happens. It also looks like he's going to go over some of the same parts of the field as well. That's, again, not a huge deal, because I will have our loading wagon, which you can see just beyond the trees there. I'm going to have him follow the exact same path, so as long as they're on the same path, that's really all that matters. And I'm sure as he gets on into the bulk of the field, we won't have quite so much overlap here. So after he gets going a couple of rows ahead, I'll get our collector up and going, and then we'll set them up on a path that will have them not only collect but also head over to the silo. Oh, and this guy is already in trouble. Alright, let's go ahead and stop that. We're going to have him start on the next closest one. So there we go. We've already got our first issue. So I'm going to turn these waypoints back on here just briefly. I think he's ready to go for this one. So I'm going to try to back him up a little bit and set him on his way. Again, doesn't need to be perfect. Alright, there we go. So he's going to get started here. So this time what got us was the embankment, a pretty steep hill there for him to try to climb with all of his attachments on, so he wasn't able to do that. So that gives me reason to possibly shrink the field a little bit, maybe change things up a little bit on the field, make it a little bit smaller so he can possibly avoid that area. But otherwise, I think he's going to be okay right now, as he should be headed to the edge of the field. And this is going to give me an opportunity to see how he handles this whole concrete structure at the end with the road. As you can see, he's going to get down pretty close. And let's see what he's going to do. He is going to... Where are we at here? Alright, he's going to be pretty close to it. Does he clip it at all? No, he does not. Alright, so I'm taking a look through some of these options just to see if there's anything I want to adjust. Again, just going through all of the little tweaks and things you have to go through on the first time using a field. All of this is perfectly fine, it looks like. Not really seeing anything that is causing an issue, or at least not that I'm noticing right now. I guess we'll find out. Alright, I do have turn on field deactivated. I prefer to leave it that way. It's a little bit quicker overall, but this might be another option if we continue to see this guy struggle. We can leave turn on the field. We can leave that activated there. Again, it takes a little bit longer generally, but if there's a lot of obstacles or things that are giving him issues with the terrain or objects on the terrain, then we can certainly activate that, and that should help him out. So I want to see how he handles this turn. See if he's able to make this turn. Yeah, this is definitely going to be hard because of the attachments and the way they're laid out on the tractor, but it looks like he's going to make it without too much of an issue. Alright, so for right now I'm going to leave that as is. Alright, and I believe right now we need to tend to something else on the map, because I believe I got a notification saying that this guy was full, and that is probably because, yep, this guy is sitting here and we need him to continue on. Alright, so we'll get him back up and started, and let's see, what do we have going on over here on field 4? Are we completely done on field 4? Yes, we are ready for... Let's go ahead and hop out. We'll jump over here and begin the collection process. So in the future, I will probably split this up completely into 2 separate videos, where in one video we'll work this area of the farm, then in another video we'll work what we'll call the newer areas of the farm over on fields 24 and 25. But for today, again, just all about getting back in the swing of things, Basically, just want to make sure I remember how to do any of this, because it seems like it's been forever. It tends to get that way when you spend nearly all of your time in bed and sleep most of the day. You feel like it's been forever since you've gotten anything done. Let's go ahead and get this guy started. We'll make sure he gets up and running and collecting and all of that. And it looks like he's moving along quite well. Okay, so with that in mind, let's take care of a couple of things here. You might have noticed them if you're watching the bottom left-hand corner on the screen. While these guys are working the fields, you might have noticed that the yield pops up there. You're not going to see it here with this particular worker because he's not actually working the field. He's simply picking up the crop. So if we come back into our map screen, you notice here it's going to give us our normal information, which shows us in this case that this guy has already been harvested. Field 4 is done for those intents and purposes, and you can see field 25 is getting very close to that as well, as our worker here is busy mowing and doesn't look like he's had any other issues there, because we see him moving along. And again, you can see the dividing line here between fields 25 and 24. It's a small little road here, and looks like he's getting pretty close to that. So looks like he's good to go. But if we go over to the precision farming, this is where we're going to get our yield. It's also where we're going to get plenty of other information, but right now what we care about is the yield. And we notice we want to keep it in this darker green area as much as we can. Of course, parts of the field will simply not be able to get there because of the type of soil. But right now, it looks like we're getting some good yield. We see some darker green here on field 3. And if you're wondering where that is coming from, that's your soil types. So we would expect to get the worst yield in the areas where we see more sand. So if we come back to the yield, yep, there we go. There is some of these down in the 80% and below. That's what we're going to start to see here, particularly this more red color and orange color there. So we're getting some darker green, a lot of green here, a lot of green on this field, except for this one area. And again, I'm pretty sure that's because of the types. And yeah, there we go. There's some sandy loam right there on the edge. So that would explain why the yield is a little bit lower there. But overall, I must say, I'm pretty happy with this. Certainly not going to say that it is perfect and it is, fully optimized or anything like that, but I'm pretty happy with this. Again, we want to keep it in the green and preferably the darkest green possible based on our soil type. But now let's move over to field 25. And again, we're seeing a lot of the darker green here with some of the lighter. And again, that's where we get into some of the sandy loam instead of the standard loam. Okay, so wasn't quite sure how this was going to work out. Now we'll see as time moves on and we continue to work these fields more and more if we see very standard yields over and over. Hopefully that's what we see, very good yields over and over. I'm particularly interested to see what happens when we get to this area of field 24, which this guy looks like he's ready to start work on 24. So we'll head over there in just a second, because this is where I'm guessing we're going to get into some very low yields, is right over in this area. So let's go ahead and pop over to this guy. We're going to hop in, and sure enough. All right, so it looks like, and yes, we need to stop him. And now we need to get him cleared out. And we need field 24. Load that one up. Again, only looking at, for right now, the beginning and the end points. And we'll see if he has any issues on field 24. There you see our dividing line that runs down through. We might get rid of that over time and just turn this into one big field. We'll have to see how it goes. But for right now, I am perfectly happy to keep them as two separate fields. So we'll let this guy get up and running. And after what we talked about in our last video, where I did a little bit of landscaping over here removing some trees toward the back end of this field over in that area that were causing him a little bit of grief. I think he should be good to go now. I think. As always, we'll find out along the way. But in this case, it looked like really the only issue he had was right over here toward the beginning. But for right now, I believe this guy is going to be perfectly fine on this field. The one thing I do see ahead that could potentially cause issues is, of course, we see this huge boulder that is going to be here, and I'm not sure how that's going to work. But as always, we'll find out soon enough whether or not it is going to happen. All right, so as this guy gets up and running, again, bottom left-hand corner, you can see our yield. And in the future, we'll worry more about whether or not that's optimized. But for right now, I really just want to make sure this guy does what he needs to do. All right, did I activate? No, general field is still deactivated. I was beginning to wonder if maybe I accidentally turned that back on. And here you can see he's doing very much the same thing that we saw on field 25 as he is overlapping here on this this second turn through. Again, that's just mostly because of the slightly odd shape of the field. Anytime it's not a perfect rectangle, we'll get a little bit of that. All right, so as we follow this guy up and through, we're going to actually hop out and we're going to get into the collection on field 25, but I figure we might as well ride this guy all the way through. Now, I'm not liking these yield colors I'm seeing at the bottom of the screen. All right, let's go ahead and hop out and work our way over. I don't like that yield, but we'll see what the complete picture looks like once we get to the end. But for now, again, this will be our first opportunity to see this guy in action. So we're going to get him field 25. And we're going to get him with that one. And then also the empty the grass, which is going to take it over here to the silo. So we'll combine those two courses. We'll make sure we've got him on field work. And let's see how things work out for him, especially since he's going to have to go over this same steep area. He should be in a little bit better shape here. Oh, this is a great angle that we're coming in at here. Okay. Try to help this out a little bit if we can. But yeah, this is just asking to turn this over. All right, let's go ahead and drive the course, and let's see how this guy gets going. But again, because we already had the swath there from our mowers, we don't really have to worry about any windrowing, which is very nice. Saves us a little bit of time, and of course, it saves us some equipment cost. Because you guys know how I am on here. I love purchasing equipment, so I'm not going to use the same equipment for multiple things if I can help it. Costs a lot more money that way, but it's also more fun for me when I get to buy stuff. Few things that make me happier here on the farm than being able to drive throughout our farm and seeing a lot of equipment nearby. Let's see what this guy's doing. He is okay. We're going to turn on the field. So what he's actually going to do now is he's going to get back facing in the right direction that he needs, and then he's simply going to reverse all the way back down there. So reversing speed, we're going to make this. Yeah, let's keep that at 6. I don't want to get too carried away with any of this. So again, this is what happens when you leave turn on the field activated. So right now he's going to get himself lined up with this second row here, and as soon as he does that, he'll simply back his way up. Now, you shouldn't have any issues backing up. The AI generally do a very good job in course play of not jackknifing the equipment. But you can see here, he's going to back up at 6 miles an hour. So all of that is perfectly fine. And this is a great way of working the fields. But like I said, it just takes a little bit longer. And anything I can do to shorten these, particularly for the videos, is something I'm interested in. So that's why I like to leave the ability for these guys to turn off the field. All right, so you can see he missed a little bit at the back. Again, not a huge issue. And certainly not something I'm going to spend a lot of time worried about. All right, we're going to deactivate that. I'm not sure if that's going to have a chance to take right now. And essentially, if this is your first time joining us, we have this issue quite a bit with course play where it wants to be activated to stop at the next trigger. Unfortunately, in this case, the next trigger is actually going to be right over here at the silo, because you can notice he is at 60% full right now, and he's not going to be able to get this entire field done on one load. So his next trigger will be over here at the silo, and I do not want him to stop. All right, let's see how this guy makes this turn, or if he can make it at all. Because this junction here with the equipment, that is... Wow, yeah, that is very steep. But thankfully, since he didn't have anything on the front, he might make it. Is he going to make it? Oh, that is so close. Yeah, I might think about shortening up this side of the field, or again, as we've talked about, as this guy is just asking to turn this equipment over. We may have to leave, turn on the field. We may have to leave that on. That should help out a lot with this particular issue, but it is so tempting with the time savings you have to leave that off. But we'll see. So this guy is doing quite well. Now let's head back over and see about our yield. So we're going to hop back over to precision farming. And okay, here's the area where we knew our yield was going to be very low, and you can see it certainly is. We're looking in the 60 to 70% range here. But other than that, not terrible, certainly not great. That's for sure. We've got a little bit of the green, which indicates that we're right around 100% or so. But we're, for the most part, looking like we're in this 80 to 90% range for most of this field. Now, that is not entirely a surprise, given what we've seen in the past videos where we took a look at the potential yields of these fields. So nothing out of the ordinary. Ooh, this guy is... Wow, did he just go right over that? Yeah, apparently he missed that. I was wondering what he was going to do when he got close to the rock, but apparently he had no issue at all. Okay, that's excellent news. That is absolutely amazing news. So that means that, unless I'm forgetting something, he has been able to work field number 24 entirely without my help. All right, I also notice our guy is headed over to drop off the first load of grass. So let's see how he does here. We're actually going to hop out, and we're going to take a look at the output here for just a moment. So here he comes through. Let's see if he stops. He does not stop at all, not even a little bit. Okay, well, that won't do it all. So let's go ahead, and that is going to cause, not sure why he didn't stop. Well, those are the wonders of the first time through. So I'll have to do a little bit of work on this. But yeah, he did not stop at all. In fact, I don't even think he wanted to stop there. All right, so let's drop off the grass here. So we'll come back and we'll take a look at the output and the fill levels and everything like that on our silo. But unfortunately, that just did not work at all the way I wanted it to. And right now, I have absolutely no idea where this guy left off. So we're going to try to figure that out real quick. Where did he leave off on the field? So it appears to be somewhere down here, and oh, I think we found it. Alright, so let's go ahead and get him up and running there. So we'll have to try to catch him next time around whenever he is getting close to empty. Okay, well, certainly not the way I would want that to happen, but such is life in this case. So I'll have a little bit of work to do on that, and we'll figure that out. All right, so if I walk back up here, you can see we've got a couple of different outputs and a lot of different information on here. Of course, our input in this case is all grass, and that 55,000 came from this very last, oh, we've got somebody who is slipping. That is certainly not what we want to see. But let's go ahead and take a look here at the output real quick. So that 55,000 is entirely grass that we just dropped off. The output number 2 is the digestate, which we're not terribly interested in here. What we're really interested in is the silage. Looks like our grass cutter is done. So there we've got 152,000. So that is waiting for us to come, and there's our loading area. So we'll simply come through here, load that up in the trailer or in the loading wagon, and take that to be sold either at the BGA or our new sell point. But things are looking very good there. We'll see how the prices come out and how much money we get, but I would estimate that we are in very good shape for that. All right, so who is slipping? Oh, yep, sure enough. All right, so first things first, turn on the field. We're going to activate that for this guy. I'm not sure why he's having a lot of issue when the other guy didn't seem to have any issues here. But we're going to go ahead and try to get this guy up and running. So yeah, a lot of things to take into consideration when using course play in these different maps and the different fields, the different shapes and sizes and all of that stuff that you got to take into account. So let's go ahead and make sure he gets up and running again. And collecting, sure enough. All right, he's good to go. So let's hop back out, grab this guy, hop in, and I would say job well done for him. Only one hiccup, but other than that, he worked very smoothly. Now we just got to figure out why our loading wagon isn't quite working as smoothly. So let's go ahead and stop him. And we are going to try to beat this guy. Yeah, we're going to be able to beat him up to the beginning. And I'm going to park him right over here on the side where we found him earlier today. And that way he'll be ready to go next time through. But I need to back him up a little bit because we're going to need to do some fertilizing as well on this field, as well as, well, really all the fields that we happen to be working. So with that in mind, okay, yeah, there you go. There you go. So he's backing up on the field. He'll make his turn. Let's hop back over to field 3, and where are we? And sure enough, yep, this guy has just stopped and refuses to drive on, so we'll have to get him up and running. That bugs me so bad. All right, let's get him back up and going. Again, not a huge deal. I mean, it's certainly not going to be the end of the world. And at this point, I'm just happy to be up and playing this game again and sharing this video with you guys. So I also noticed that, well, we've got a combine that needs a little bit of help, and that means that our other driver is sitting here at the loading site. So let's go ahead and turn that off just for a minute so that we can have him. Now, I didn't take a look before to see if he actually emptied out. Maybe he didn't. Maybe I just sent him on his way before he even emptied out. Because I fully admit I did not pay attention to that part of it. I just assumed he had already unloaded. There you can see, wow, that's a nice amount of income there. 35,000. Yeah, we'll take that. And of course, if you're wondering, why do we have the oats that we're taking to be sold rather than giving them to our horses? Well, that's because our horses already have plenty of oats, and our silo is full as well with about 100,000 liters. So we really don't need any oats. So we have plenty of excess. So I'm simply going to take them to be sold, and we'll use the money to probably purchase some more equipment. All right, I see this guy is heading off. Let's see what happens this time around. So, oh, he's still activated there. I don't want him to be activated. We need to turn that off. So you're probably beginning to see exactly why I mentioned that I was wanting to break up the workload on the farm and sort of work fields 3 and 4 at one time, and then later on work on a separate occasion, work the new fields of 24 and 25. All right, there we go. For some reason, second time through, nearly every time, he does just fine with this. But that first time through, he just does not want to keep going after he unloads. So right now, this will give us an opportunity actually to come in and take a look at our cows. Now we're at 190, and that's because as we get up close to 200, which is our maximum capacity for the cows, I like to come in and sell those down to about 190. So I've already done that before I started recording, as I was sort of walking around the farm and getting an idea of where things were. So we're sitting here at 190. So I'll let that get back up to somewhere around 200, 197 or so, and then I'll sell those back down. We'll make 10 or 12,000 from the sale of the cows, and that is always a nice amount of money. Now you also notice down here we've got manure, only 58,000 there, and that's because I've been selling that off on a pretty regular basis. But the slurry has been growing. In fact, it was up somewhere around 1 million at one point. But now that we have precision farming, we are using the slurry. So that is what I was mentioning a little bit earlier in talking about fields 24 and 25 and how they were going to need a little bit of help, because they're going to need some fertilizer whenever we're done working those for today. Milk is very little. That's because I sell that off every day as well. But the hay, you notice that we're not going to fill this up. No way to fill that up, not with just field number 4 and as many cows as we've got. So I just try to keep it somewhere around the middle line once we're done with field 4 for today, and that'll give us plenty of days. It gives us a good 4, 5, or 6 days before we really have to worry about anything. And of course, by then, we're ready to work the field again. So it's a non-issue. Straw still looks perfectly fine. So I'm probably not going to gather any of the straw from field 3 today. All right, everything looking good here. I'll tell you what, let's head back over, because I've got a feeling. Oh, what about that for timing? I was just gonna say, this guy looks like he is, I'm guessing, about ready to deliver. And sure enough, this guy is. All right, let me go ahead and stop him, because I could already see he was not going to stop. So again, I'll have to take a look at that and see exactly why he's not stopping there. Why he's reaching the trigger but not doing that. But we'll figure that out. And if I have to end up redoing that particular course, it's not a huge deal. That's a very short course. All right, now, really our only problem is now figuring out where he stopped on the field, and I believe I see it right over here. Yeah, there we go. So, again, when that's the only problem you've got, it's really not a huge deal. All right, so overall, as we come in once again to precision farming and take our last quick look here at the yield. So overall, we knew this area was going to be a low yield, so nothing new there. Overall, we're somewhere in the 80 to 90% range for most of this field. And then we've got a small portion of around 100 or so percent there. So I would say that's pretty much exactly what I was expecting. Now, contrast that with field number 25, which is, we don't see any of this orange or red color at all. In fact, very little of the yellow. In fact, just some faintest hints right here in this corner. But for the most part, we've got the darker green, which would lead me to believe that we're in this 110 plus category. And that is exactly what I really want to see. All right, let's see how our guy is doing here turning. So I believe, didn't we turn on? Yeah, we turn on the field is now activated for him. So he's making good use of that. Again, he'll simply line himself up here and then back up to get to his beginning waypoint. So he's got, looks like he's going to be able to get about somewhere between 2.5 to 3 full loads of grass off of this field. So that's very good indeed. Remember, this is our highest yielding field of the 2 new ones. So 2.5 to 3 full loads of grass is very nice, because that means that we're going to be somewhere around, what, 160,000 liters. And if we come in and take a quick look at what that is in money terms, then we're going to look at some silage. Now, if we go to biogas, it's going to be 600. So no surprise there. That's a standard price for them. But we could go to the barn, which we will not be doing simply because it's really out of the way and very hard to get in and out of. So we'll not be using the barn. But our new selling point, the grain vault, is at 500 right now. So we got a couple of options on where we can sell that. Right now, we've got plenty of capacity left in the silo. So I am probably going to simply see where this price goes. And if it gets above 600, I'll probably take it and sell it at that edge grain vault. And if it doesn't, then of course we've always got the biogas plant that we can use for this. But that should give us a nice amount of income on a very regular basis. So our farm, once again, is growing quite nicely. We've got our 2 new fields, which we've had an opportunity to work today. We've got a lot going on. Let's actually hop back over to our silo as we begin to wind down today's video. So we got a lot more grass to get there. So if we assume that we've got, let's just say 110 liters from field 24 to collect, since we know the yield is less, plus maybe another, we'll say another 30 to 40,000 liters there, we're looking at another 150 or so of input to come in. So that's going to better than double what we already have in there. Again, our total capacity is at no issue. We're at about 20% right now. We'll be at about 40 to 50% after all is said and done, converting this grass over to silage. So I'm pretty happy with this. It gives us some time to wait for some good prices. If that doesn't materialize, we certainly know where we can go and sell this. And at the end of the day, we've got some digestate here that we can use along the way for some additional fertilizer. So this is turning out to be, I believe, a very profitable area of the map for us, and we'll just see how it continues to grow. Remember, we don't own field number 23 yet. So I plan a little bit down the road, after we get some of these kinks ironed out, we'll use, let's see what he's going to do. Hopefully he doesn't run into the other guy. I think he's just going to go over there and, nope, he's headed this way. Okay, so he did get a full load. Nice little jump he did there coming up on the field, or coming up off of the field, I should say. All right, so as we in today's video, I would say we've got a lot done here. A very profitable day for us. We have managed to take care of our cows for a few more days. We've made some money, and we are really going to have, let's go ahead and hop in here with him because I need to get him stopped. But we are going to have a very profitable next few days. Keep an eye on this number in the top right-hand corner. $441,000 right now, and we've got a lot of silage yet to be sold to make this number go up even more. So that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and stick around for more Farming Simulator.